Where has this couple been in recent times? Like out of the shadows, Bill and Melinda Gates have appeared on a recent Forbes live interview, doing a Q&A on their scope for our futures. They discuss freedoms, mask, testing, and even the V word. Now, that is how it pertains to all of us, of course. So, Melinda, what is that 2020 elevator pitch again?
So the elevator pitch is test, contact trace, isolate and quarantine, and wear a mask, and role model wearing a mask. Every single person should be wearing a mask without exception.
You guys are watching Talks with Ryan. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's get into today's video.
Contact with older people are those that at greater risk. It will help us bring the numbers down. But, you know, we don't know, are we going back to, say, 2,000 deaths a day like we were in April? That's hard to say. It's possible that we will. So 2020 is going to be a very tough year because the U.S. just hasn't been willing to drive the numbers to the same low level that many other countries did.
Yeah, so the elevator pitch is test, contact trace, isolate and quarantine, and wear a mask, and role model wearing a mask. Every single person should be wearing a mask without exception.
In order to best set this next clip up, I want you guys to first watch a news clip. And it almost seems like to me that Bill is trying to hint, or he's trying to tell us something. Check this out.
It's showing the vaccine may give some protection against the coronavirus.
That's right, Dave, but it's important to note that this first human trial is testing safety, not effectiveness.
So we don't yet have it all in place. If those two vaccines are successful, we can start to see how it could come together. But we also need to back a few other candidates in case there's some problem.
This first human trial is testing safety, not effectiveness.
There's some problem.
We won't really know about side effects until we go through those large trials.
Every person in this trial received 2 shots 28 days apart. They were given different dosages. The study found the most common side effects were fatigue, headache, chills, and pain at the injection side, but nothing that suggested a serious adverse reaction.
In case there's some problem.
Now, guys, to be honest, when I first heard this, I actually did not believe it. I called fake news on it. But you're about to hear it for yourself. Melinda Gates says that she wants to deliver the shots by race. And guess who she says she thinks should be the first in line? That's right. Black people, the black community. So why isn't the black community questioning this at all? Considering that in reality, they would actually be the nation's guinea pig for the shots.
And then you have to start to tier from there based on the countries and the populations. But, here in the United States, really, it's going to be black people who really should get it first, and many indigenous people.
It's going to be black people who really should get it first, and many indigenous people.
All right, this segment I want you guys to watch really close as Melinda reaches in and halts Bill, as Bill seemingly almost spills his guts during the live stream. And he's discussing the relationship with the WHO and the Gates Foundation as they're handling geological problems around the world.
At some point, there needs to be a responsible plan for how the U.S. cooperates with other countries about health things. WHO is involved in smallpox eradication, and U.S. Our relationship with WHO is key there.
Now, we may never know what Bill was getting ready to say there, but if you think you have an idea, make sure and leave it in the comments, because right before Melinda stopped him, she looked like she had almost seen a ghost. So let's watch Melinda in action just a couple more times before we move on.
Relationship with WHO is key there. Was key there.
Anyway, guys, before we get into the last segment of this Bill and Melinda interview, I want to go over a couple articles from the Israel Times. It says the medication is injected under the skin with a needle, then activated with a device that resembles a toothbrush, which delivers an electrical impulse for a fraction of a second, allowing the DNA to penetrate the body's cells and carry out its missions. Now, this is important, and you guys need to know this. And stick around to the last clip, and it'll all really start to make sense for you guys. It goes on to talk about the vaccine, and it says that it's designed to inject DNA under a person's skin, so it has to set off a specific immune response. Here's another article that pertains to the upcoming footage I'm getting ready to show you. It's from Gretchen Whitmer, the Michigan governor. She talks about the microchips that's in discussion are about the size of a large grain of rice, and they're inserted between the employee's thumb and forefinger. And she's wanting to introduce this to most of the workers in Michigan, and it's optional. So I mean, it's not like she's saying that it has to be done, but it says the chips can be used as key fobs for an office time card, a credit account, for the cafeteria, for anything. And with the technology growing, the options are limitless. Now let's get in to the last segment of the Bill and Melinda Gates interview, and I want you to definitely pay attention to what Melinda says, because it's going to touch home with those few articles that we just went over.
The disinformation is just, it's confounding on the one hand. And on the other hand, we're still just putting our heads down and doing the work. It doesn't change our daily life to have those conspiracy theories out there. We know they're not true. We know they're not true.
We know they're not true.
They certainly come up a little bit with the kids in the household. By the way, we do have our son came home early from college, and unfortunately for him. That conversation comes up, but it doesn't change what we do on a day-to-day basis, luckily.
Bill, you look a little bit bemused.
Well, I hope it remains a humorous thing, that there aren't anything more that comes of that. It's not like we're going to back off or anything. Some news channels have been better than others on these things. And, it just shows there's certain primal concerns about, medicine and science and experts that when people are worried, they're kind of more open-minded to unusual explanations.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of anxiety for good reason in the country right now, and a lot of tension, and people are more glued at home. They have more time. So in some ways, maybe this was inevitable, but I know my husband is not vaccinating people and putting a microchip in their arm, because that technology doesn't even exist, and he's never uttered the words out of his mouth. So
I know my husband is not vaccinating people and putting a microchip in their arm, because that technology doesn't even exist, and he's never uttered the words out of his mouth.
I know my husband is not vaccinating people and putting a microchip in their arm, because that technology doesn't even exist, and he's never uttered the words out of his mouth.
So guys, here's the way I look at it. The Michigan governor is implementing this technology, while at the same time the Gates family and Melinda swears that the technology isn't even available yet. If you guys enjoy these videos, make sure and leave each one of them a thumbs up and share them on all your social media platforms. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure and hit that subscribe button before you leave the video. Other than that, guys, take care of yourself, and I will see you shortly in the next video.